Welcome to Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering from ELD's Time Vault games. This is our ELD Legacy Open. Champion gets this leather playmat engraved with an ancient Roman walking ballista. Now, Rude is playing Dragon. Matt's on Eureka. Both of these pilots putting in a ton of work pioneering these archetypes. Mono Black Animator, Dragon, making full use of grief while it can. Sees the show and tell, but it also sees the new package that Matt has incorporated into Eureka to help combat Delver. We see Ice Fang and Uro. Both of those guys are serious problems for fair decks. Now, Reanimate is actually going to bring back Grief. And, boy, I don't love this situation. Matt without counter magic. I mean, maybe Rodney has enough extra animate effects that he'll be fine here. But Rodney actually has the two creatures that'll be necessary to block Grief eventually, and Uro will make it so he doesn't even need to block, nullifying the 3 life loss with 3 life gained. So this beatdown plan does not line up very well. Ice Fang has Death Touch. There's Uro, so you've got Ice Fang, ETB draw a card, Uro, ETB draw a card. Not refilling his hand despite being double griefed. And Unmask is getting fired off here. Veil of Summer brushing it aside. That is a big swing right there. Rodney on 1 land. This is just not looking good at all. Matt's plan B. Surprised he didn't unearth Uro there. Unmask getting stopped by Veil of Summer is just an absolute blowout. A fistful of cards. Lotus Petal into Dance of the Dead. Grabbing Uro. Oh, that's actually just a misplay. Rude's not going to be happy about this one. Oh, no. So Uro did not escape, so he's just going back to the graveyard. Getting creative, but not working out. Now he's escaping. That is brutal. Not having a discard outlet so far either. Really, I don't know that there's a Gristlebrand or World Gorger in his hand. Got to get that into the bin. Make each one of these Dance of the Dead and Reanimate's a must counter. It's almost like you have a bunch of Yawgmoth Wills in your deck. Once your graveyard reaches that lethal condition, you resolve a inexpensive black spell and win the game. Condition's actually pretty easy to set up as well. It's just a Gristlebrand or a World Gorger. Either one's going to be fine. Rodney's scooping it up here. Yeah, that was not ideal for Dragon. Not what you're hoping to show out of this archetype. Now, it does have a lot of hand disruption, which, versus Veil of Summer, this card's brutal. I mean, when you think about this in terms of turns in Magic, it starts to become a lot stronger. Like, sure, if you have 4 Thoughtseizes, then Veil of Summer can only stop one of them. It kind of stops all 4, though. Like, yeah, you can cast them on future turns in theory, but if I draw another Veil, like, it just keeps pushing it further and further down the road to the point where they're not even useful anymore because I've been able to assemble my combo despite you having hand disruption. So it really is kind of like a Time Walk effect. I don't think there's a matchup that's more clearly like a Time Walk effect than Tendrils-based strategies, where they try and Thoughtseize you. You can Veil, protecting your hand, And then also they can't kill you with tendrils that turn. So decks that don't have access to like Grape Shot or some other alternate win condition, I mean, it's just really incredibly strong. And the reason for Eureka, really, printing a Veil of Summer was the thing to draw into question what the splash should be. Obviously, you're going to have blue for show and tell and your counter magic, but traditionally, show and tell decks have splashed red for sneak attack. Eureka runs Eureka, which is not as strong as sneak attack, just in general, but it does have much better synergy with all of the decks, so you can put in Omniscience, for example. But it typically will only end up running one copy of it. It looks like both players mulling, so we'll skip ahead over the shuffling. Like Rodney down to 5, opening up on a Putrid Imp. Is a potential counterspell target. I think Collective Brutality is really, really strong in the deck because it's an uncounterable discard outlet. Being able to escalate it. You're going to get a dragon or Gristlebrand into the graveyard if you have one in hand, and your opponent can't actually stop you for the most part, which is very strong. And then you also get to get a potential counter out of their hand. Oh, look at this. Discarding Gristlebrand, throwing an Animate out there. Dance of the Dead is countered. Putrid Imp, allowing that. Oh, no. I think he's about to get got. Yeah, Ice Fang shows up and trades with the Putrid Imp. That 1 damage was not worth it. We got another Putrid Imp anyways. That body can be sacrificed to Cabal Therapy, which is certainly of note. But you do want that discard outlet for later when you find your World Gorger Dragon. Putrid Imp will eventually be a 2/2, but I mean, Dragon's just not going to get there very often, attacking with 2/2 Putrid Imps and 3/2 Menace Griefs. Especially now with the tweaks that Matt has made to this deck. And you can brush aside kind of a half-hearted assault from these misfit band of creatures pretty easily with a single Uro. I mean, just the life gain alone gonna really make it difficult to ever win through those means. So many basic lands as well, worth noting. Matt does not have to be fetching up basics in this matchup. You have a hard cast Grief. And Veil of Summer, even just countering the discard aspect. Counter the discard, draw a card. Doesn't really care about the 3/2 body. Uro just filling his hand. And turning it into a 2-turn clock situation. These bodies now may end up just being chump blockers for the Legendary Titan. Ice Fang coming in end of turn. Looking very bad here. Just a fistful of cards for Matt. At this point, the deck just playing the role of a control deck. Tomb. Grabbing a Cabal Therapy, getting some utility. Sacrificing that Grief, trying to clear the way for a Reanimate effect here. But Reanimate won't actually help very much, as Gristlebrand of countering the Animate Dead. That shows him still got all these, a Endurance not spent, just absolutely dominant position there. Is Eureka with this suite of Uro and Ice Fang Kotal has no problem kind of brushing aside these plan Bs, kind of attacking with creatures trying to pressure your opponent. I mean, they do not care at all with the Titan 75.